So the NBA reached an 11-year deal between Amazon, ESPN, and NBC. And of course, the biggest talking point has been inside the NBA and how this is their final year because they are owned by Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers went to the NBA and matched the offer between Amazon, ESPN, and NBC. And the NBA said, you know what? We're going to decline. And now they're going to be suing the NBA because they didn't want to negotiate. Now, there's been a lot of conversations going on, and I totally get it, especially from fans out there like me who watched inside the NBA, who grew up with Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Ernie Johnson, and Kenny the Jet Smith on late nights. And we saw the entertainment. We saw the electricity from these guys. Were they always really good with their takes? No, but they were absolutely hilarious. And now seeing this as their last year, it is sad because as a fan, you want to see them continue and not go out this way. But business is business, and that's not always an easy thing to digest. But the question I want to propose to you guys is the NBA just chasing profits over fans? Because you can make an argument for, well, why didn't you just accept Warner Brothers' deal? They matched your offer. People love inside the NBA. That's one of their favorite shows. And you just take it away just like this. So I can definitely see that argument being made by fans because when you grow up with this product, you enjoy it. Now there's going to be a massive transition to more streaming services. It has us wondering as fans, would the next wave of analysts reach the same potential? Because that's a hard expectation to reach. And it's going to be interesting to see what Shaq's going to do next, what Kenny Smith is going to do next. I think Ernie Johnson is locked into TNT, so he's just going to retire with that network. But then you got Charles Barkley, who said this is his final year. He's not going to go anywhere else. So we'll see if that continues as he rides off into the sunset. So there's a lot of moving pieces going on. And I just hope inside the NBA gets a proper farewell tour and that the fans get to experience a show like they've never seen before, especially since they've poured so much into the NBA. They're part of the community. And to see it dismember like this, like I said, it's kind of sad and it's hard to receive because you would like to see it done a different way. But when it comes to the world of business, it doesn't always work out the way we want. Now I'm going to play the clip from Charles Barkley and what he said about this situation on the Dan Patrick Show, and I'll give you more of my thoughts.
How did we get to this point?
Money. The money's just gotten so astronomical, and the owners they need this money to pay these players, and the fans are the big loser. But they need this money to pay the players. Dan, I was telling some friends of mine, you know how old I am? I remember the first time an NBA player made $1 million. We were going around the locker room high-fiving each other. And I'm talking like, I'm in the locker room with Dr. J, Moses, Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Toney, Clement Johnson, all these guys. We can't, and this was like 86, 87, I think. The first time an NBA player made $1 million. We were high, they're like, we can't believe it. And now $1 million, that's per diem.
Your boss at TNT probably didn't help the cause when he said that we don't need the NBA. So I wonder what the priority was with the NBA. Like, we want it, but we want it at a certain price.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that, to be honest with you. Did they have something to do with it? Not really, because we did say we would match. So yeah, but they didn't give us an opportunity. What I really think happened was because they bought in another partner. This was a last-ditch cash grab by the NBA and the players. That's why I think they signed an 11-year deal. So they're like, hey, let's get as much money as we possibly can right now. This is going to be our last bite of the apple because TNT, ABC, ESPN, they're not going to pay more money going forward. That's why I think they're like, hey, you know what? Let's get in bed. And I'm not blaming because I love Adam. Hey, let's get in bed with the streaming because they're going to be the only people who can afford us in 11 years.
Now, here are my thoughts on what Charles Barkley had to say. I get it. It is a business. And I have no problem when you're trying to grow your business. You're trying to get profits and make sure that your organization is always growing. I have no problem whatsoever because you want to grow. You should want to get better. You should want to market your product even more. So partnering with Amazon, NBC, no problem whatsoever. But here's the main root of this problem. when you have guys that you love or maybe you hate, but you enjoy watching them because they're entertaining, and you're trying to replace them with new faces, there is going to be an adjustment period. Look at what ESPN's going through right now. JJ Redick is gone. Now they have Mike Breen and Doris Burke. And all of a sudden, you're looking at the NBA Finals like, is it going to be an entertaining show? Because they lost Mark Jackson. They lost Van Gundy. And those were pillars for the NBA Finals. So if the views keep on decreasing in the NBA Finals, well, you got to look at, you let go of Mark Jackson, you let go of Van Gundy, and they were a big part of that experience. Barkley, Shaq, Kenny Smith, and Ernie Johnson have earned their trust. Now, Warner Brothers did say they don't need the NBA a few years ago. So maybe that turned off Adam Silver in negotiating with Warner Brothers. I don't know. That might have played a part in the negotiations. But when you're matching the offer and you still turn them down, knowing how the fans may feel about it, it could look like you're just trying to chase some paper rather than trying to balance out your fans and your profits. Because you need customers, you need us to watch your product. So it's going to be very critical who they bring in on Amazon, who they bring in on NBC. Because if those guys don't meet the expectations of the fans, guess what? The fans are going to turn off the product. They're going to watch something else, because if you're pushing propaganda, if your takes are really bad, they're going to go somewhere else. The NBA is trying to move into streaming services, and I get it, but you got to keep their attention as well. You got to make sense when you're talking basketball. So if they bring on a bunch of guys whose takes are bad and they're not entertaining, yikes, that's going to be a difficult transition. And the reason why I'm bringing that up, because this is what Amazon got out of this deal. They're going to get an NBA conference finals every other year. That means a lot of fans are going to be watching because it's the last of the 2 rounds in the NBA playoffs. Thursday night games once the NFL season ends. And we know who used to host Thursday night games inside the NBA, so there's an expectation there. Weekly Friday or Saturday night games all season long. Emirates in-season tournament. Early round playoff games similar to NBA TV's current package. International rights and unspecified WNBA package. Here's the deal. If they pick a bunch of analysts that the fans do not get on board with, there's going to be a difficult transition. Because what's going to happen is the fans are going to react, and then they're going to listen to other people who are smarter than them, or who know basketball better, or who can question their takes, and they're going to look like a bunch of clowns. So if I'm the NBA and I'm looking at my roster of analysts who's going to break down these games and do play-by-play commentary, you got to be smart here. What you don't want is a situation where you have guys up there who just give horrible takes, who aren't entertaining, and the fans don't want to listen to them. Fair or unfair, they're going to be compared to inside the NBA, especially when you have that Thursday night slot and you have Fridays or Saturday night games. You're going to be compared to them. And if you're a streaming service and they don't want to stay engaged, well, they're just going to turn you off. So we'll see how this all plays out. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Love to hear your thoughts on what Charles Barkley had to say. Also, do you think the NBA is choosing profits over fans? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.